Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm so sorry about that. What happened was Aldo shoved me in the ribs so hard I broke. So
I wish. God, I wish.
like it was one of those like he shoved me into into the next hour. So ouch. All right. Let's kind of get back into it. I don't remember the exact words you were saying, Jake. But
He said like, "Oh, the cell's comfy," and I was like, "Oh, is it?" And I kind of like pushed against his ribs there, and I was like, "Oh, it doesn't look that comfy."
So as you go to push against his ribs, which don't get me wrong, like Aldo moves quick enough or with certainty enough, and this guy is moving slow enough at the moment, he's going to be able to like give that shove. But the guy, like, while he is intimidatable and whatnot, physical contact is different from words and conversation. So when you go to give that kind of like shove against him, he's actually gonna, retaliate, right? And he's going to, if you will, lash out at you. I'm going to do a CMB versus your CMD. So more or less like you go to shove him and he's going to go to try to like grapple you. Just like more or less instinctively, but also it is a decision, right? And I do not provoke an attack of opportunity from doing this, so none of you are armed anyways. So I rolled a natural 15 plus a bunch. So he does actually successfully grapple Aldo. Not that he'd necessarily be able to keep you there for a long while. So you're going to shove him like, oh, are the cells comfy? And like you're going to grab him. And his hand is so big. He doesn't just like grab your wrist. He like wraps his hand and fingers like thumb locked into fingers around the other side of your arm because his hands are so massive. Remember the way I described those swords forever ago. So it's like a proper grab of your arm. And when he like wraps his arm around you, he holds you the way that an adult would hold a child. How easily he's able to hold your arm and your body in his arm. Because even though you're not tons smaller than him, his arms are so large comparatively. He's able to do so. What's up, Foxy Doxy? Sorry if you like raided or something while I was offline. I had a technical glitch. But back to you, sir. So he's like got you pulled in with one arm hard. And then the other hand, and this is where it's no longer like instinct, it's definitely a conscious decision. His other massive hand, it comes up and just full blown hand over your face, like hugging your face like a goddamn one of the egg hatching things from what Aliens, right?
Alien, yeah.
Like a hand over your face, and looks at the other two, like threateningly, if you will, but clearly you guys can see there's water in his eyes, because that motion and the grabbing and holding him is very painful. Like this kind of like heavy activity is really hard for him to do. So you can see the water in his eyes, but you can also see his baring fangs and so on.
Let him go.
He says it so matter of fact. Let him go. Let him go. Grr. Arg.
I was already scared him once and also one-shotted him, so...
Yeah. I imagine Koa just gives
him staying calm, he thinks it'll be scarier than him being aggressive.
Yeah. Steely gaze, let him go. And honestly, he probably was going to do so anyways, and Koa gets that. He's no fool. He probably was going to do so anyways. Maybe he just does so a bit quicker than he was going to, as like is proving the point, if you will. But so he will let go of his face and his arm and just kind of give him like a small push off of him, but like not anything that makes sends him stumbling, just enough to be like, get away from me. Like, cause you put hands on him, but Aldo, feel free to retaliate, or anybody else.
Oh, Aldo just turns to the others and he goes, "Oh, didn't know he was. I think we were going about this all wrong. I didn't know he was into things like that."
This has kind of been, you've been guiding for a few moments, so Cole will just stay silent and go along with whatever. He thinks maybe you have a plan, so he's just like...
Maintain the threatening gaze, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely gets her.
Aldo just like smiles at the guy. Like kind of gives him a wink, but he'll like see to the floor.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely gets Mikhail to crack a smile that he's trying not to. Oh God, I don't remember what the line of questioning we were on was. Oh yeah,
We're
because
trying to get him to give up who he thinks hired went, I think.
Yep, he's being just to recap, he was being guarded because it was one of those like, well, if we bring you back, your life might be forfeit. You know what I mean? So like we're treating you decent. You know he will not. Why are you protecting him? You know?
Yeah.
And then your characters are actually asking that question. You also understand there is clearly a degree of self-preservation here, but it's a matter of breaking through that self-preservation of helping us help you versus staying silent helps you. But anyways, continue.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly you don't want to go back. You don't want to die. We don't want you going and telling Beltran anything about this place or about us or coming after us again. So.
Oh, you just flat out said it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm hoping someone gets a read on him when I say it, because I know I don't have one.
Beltran, I imagine Koa's like.
I'm hoping one of you gets a read on him, because I know I'm not.
I think I got a bluff because I don't know if Koa can contain a reaction to that.
Well, I was just gonna let you say your piece before I chimed in, but since we broke, when you don't need you when you say Beltran, he was kind of like, he keeps looking between the three of you, but has a closer eye on Aldo now, with Aldo being, because he got physical. But when you say that, his eyes dart to you and kind of like lock in hard on you. You all see that.
Okay.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, okay. He says, so why don't we come up with a different plan? Something that can benefit all of us. I see some recognition when I said that name. Is that who you expected?
Perhaps.
Kind of nods.
I'm quiet because I'm eating. I'm trying to chew into the mic. My bad.
He's waiting to see what you say. He's listening.
Why don't you stick around here? Help us defend this place. Keep an eye out for scouts. You're not going to have free reign. You can't just wander off wherever you want to go. It's going to be tough to be able to trust you.
I can't believe
but it's better than a cell, isn't it?
Depends.
Think about it. But in the meantime, since you recognize that name, what else do you know about him?
Wealthy.
Who else has he paid for this kind of shit?
There's a handful of guards.
He says that word, but it's like clearly like has a bit of venom to it. Like, it's understood that they're technically guards, but like, come on.
That are doing well for themselves.
Others like Went?
Yes.
You have names?
Don't need them.
We might, though.
Look at their belts and boots.
So he's rewarding those that are loyal to him. I imagine punishing or cutting off those that aren't.
He actually doesn't respond to that question. But maybe he just doesn't have the answer. Or
is that another sense motive moment? Or
no, it's one of those like because you have your 18 that you have for this conversation, right? And even Jake is 24, I think. He maybe he doesn't have the answer. Maybe he is just like one of those doesn't know. Sorry, maybe he doesn't have the answer, or maybe it's just like he doesn't want to admit to it because of his own concerns for his own well-being when it comes to that scenario as it is. That's where Koa is. Aldo, you think that he doesn't have the definitive answer, and so if he doesn't have the answer, he's not going to respond. Like, at most, he'll give you a grunt, but usually just stays silent. He's just not a talkative person. Unlike me.
Do you know what happens to people who turn down these jobs? Is it just that they don't get paid, which is its own downside, or something worse?
Don't take work. You don't work.
At all.
At all.
Do you hate us? Do you support the slave trade that we ended and such?
What?
Do you hate the valiant few? Do you hate that we stopped slaves?
All he does is the grunt, but you can just see it's just one of those, like, genuinely thinks it's a stupid question.
I'm trying to throw him off. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. He genuinely thinks it's a stupid question. Like he's like, I'm gonna go back to talking to the people that aren't just big and intimidating, and doesn't dignify it with a response beyond the grunt.
Which I'm assuming means he doesn't support slaves.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few people that would in the world
I know.
in general, outside of say Yovance, but beyond that, like especially in a deer, like this place, its touchstone is like independence, is freedom, is like, you know, y'all go fuck yourselves. I'm gonna do what I want to do, you know, within bounds, right?
Yeah. Mikhail is
saying,
letting. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's a little strange, isn't it, that the valiant few, we came in and stopped this slave trade, then all of a sudden we've got some big enemies from some wealthy and shady individuals.
He has no opinion on that matter.
And I was just curious if you agreed with that, or if you didn't. Now I think I have my answer.
Out of broken hands, too.
What does that mean? I don't know if I understood that.
Like, just come in and hurt people as well. Like, joined, fought against them, had he known.
Well, we did, and look where that got us. 9 assassins hired to take us out.
You called them assassins? He actually gives like a little chuckle because it's
So it
such
smiles when he says it.
it's like it's such an overstate. It's like a farmer runs at you with like a pitchfork and a sickle. That assassin.
Koa smiles as he says it too, knowing like how easily they were dispatched. Well, while we're being here in Chummy, is there anything else you want to share with us? Any other assumptions you might have? Any other rumors you might have heard? Any other groups doing this or doing that? Any other people being terrorized?
Why?
Well, because we're the valiant few, and it's our job to make those things right.
That's a song and a story.
He'll kind of eyeball the other two real quick. What do you think this place is? The cages you were kept in?
I didn't say they weren't true, but it's a song and a story.
And us.
And without even looking at you, I swung one time and knocked you out.
He rolls his eyes and says,
Lucky shot. And that doesn't change. It's a song and a story. The whole is real. The cages are real. The slaves were real. The few are real. But we know the difference between a person and a poet.
we being the lot of you, and knowing that
Is this
the truth
okay,
stretches.
Is he saying this with to sound tough, or is he saying this like he truly doesn't think that we were all that mighty?
I mean, clearly you guys are competent and capable, but the assumption is that the truth has been stretched.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've done the deed, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
were you really outnumbered 3-1? Come on. Was it really that many? Come on. And mind you, never mind the actual facts. The stories that have been gone from there have
No, that's
actually
true.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but even the
Um,
facts themselves are probably almost fantastic. You know.
Well, I will give you that. They are stories. But some stories are true.
We had to live them, right? And even if they are songs and stories, like Koa said, there's truth to them. We did have to come here with limited numbers. Some of them are still here. And liberate people. Some of which didn't make it out. It remains one of the most harrowing things that has ever happened to me. And that reality is what helps drive forward to do other tasks like it. Not everyone lives through something like that. The few who do, well, you know you're made for it. It's part of you. You're capable enough. At least us three believe that. That's why we keep doing stupid shit like throwing ourselves at crazy odds. But we're still here.
Why are you talking to me?
As opposed to the others.
You're good looking. Aldo looks at him.
He doesn't laugh. But
Koa might cry. I don't know if I can hold that one back.
Yeah, I think Mikhail probably holds it together better than I did, for sure.
Koa does too, but he still probably cracks a smile because Aldo's just so fucking absurd. Well, because there's a few
Go ahead.
reasons. One, from what we can gather, you were the leader of this bunch. You had probably the most direct contact with Went. You might have had more information. And if you have a hunch or know who we are pretty sure is after us, then you know the scope and reach that he may have. And, well, the more we know, the better prepared we are. Information is powerful, and if you had any that we didn't, we wanted to gather it. Plus, to get a read on you. Are you an evil, terrible person, or are you a person who got offered a job and had to make ends meet? Are you someone who believes in slavery, or is just on a hard time? There's a lot of things we wanted to know. And from what little you've given us, we've learned what we can, but the floor is yours to share more.
Do you know who I am?
none of you
No.
have any clue.
I think
Oh.
you're a bugbear. Other than that,
Aldo
no.
laughs at that.
It's like looks at you, he's kind of like, yes, I think you're human. Oh, thanks, bro.
Right?
So he just says,
I got approached because of my reputation.
What's your reputation?
I get the job done.
And are you
Not
proud of
this
that
time.
fact? I love Aldo's quiz.
what did you say, Aldo?
Not this time.
The difference between the truth and the story.
Sounds
this
like you
case,
should have a
then-
name we know.
Your circles aren't mine.
I wouldn't be so sure. We
Well,
have
what do
a
we
lot more
call you
friends
then?
than you might think.
Well, what do we call you then?
It is.
Wee woo.
He tells you his name is
Dar.
Dar. But Kiken, you can go ahead and roll me a linguistics check real quick.
That was a
well,
19, and that's
No,
bad.
that's fine. Actually, that's good enough. So Dar is a nickname for Daelric, which is a tall name. It means striker, like one who strikes, right? And that is typically speaking what you call it? But is typically speaking a first name as opposed to a last name.
What does all of that mean in the end?
No, just it's Glyn name, but it's a nickname. Sorry, it's a tall name, so it's more or less yeah. So
Well, he's a
he
tall
doesn't
fellow. It makes sense.
he doesn't have
Definitely wouldn't be
like
Scott.
just a regular Glyn, like Dar sounds like Glyn, like something simple, quick, easy, but it's a nickname for Daelric. So if his name is actual Dar, then okay, Glyn, so on and so forth. If his name is actually Daelric, then that means his family is more old school, a bit more educated, a bit more detailed to it. So something you're just gonna be like, you could straight up ask, is that short for Daelric? And you could know. But like knowing if somebody's name is say Sam or Samuel, you know what I mean? Or is your name actually Becky or is it Rebecca? Kind of gives you an understanding of the family they came from. You know, like if your name is Skylar, we know about your parents. We know what your parents' decision making processes are. You know,
They really like the wife in Breaking Bad.
which is a choice. But no, he is actually going to ask, but he will ask in tall. Is that short for Daelric?
so you're straight up. Before you were pretending to not know, and now
Glyn.
you're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Mask off. Because he's already shown me enough that like I kind of have an idea of how to work with him.
Is this
Cool.
a revelation to Aldo too? Whenever you say that.
No, Aldo only speaks one of the two languages.
Yeah, I don't speak at all.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you asked that question, and you can actually see once again his eyes like dart to you, like as you keep like, you're all over the map. You're like a I don't know, a goddamn squirrel on crack, like in this conversation, like all over the place, right? Anyways, so when you ask that, he kind of like stares at you, but it's like a long stare as he's trying to judge the situation, and then finally, after like a few moments, goes,
What an answer.
Right? All that preamble for a grunt. Mikhail just kind of nods at that, and then he'll switch back to parent and say, tall name. So, probably an older family.
nods slightly.
Koa's raising an eyebrow because you and Aldo have both spoken to this guy in different languages, and he's like, "Is this stuff I'm not supposed to hear? Like, I'm feeling left out here."
He just kind of like he just sort of nudges you a little bit, like I'll explain later or something kind of thing.
I mean, to be honest, he probably understands conversationally very, very mild amount of tall. Like it's one of those things where you would have had some degree of training younger, but you don't use it day to day. It's borderline. You just
Sure.
like because he asked such a simple question, it would make sense that he'd follow. But this guy's not exactly about to be like, so how's the weather? Do you like to have fried rice? You know, like in that language.
Yeah.
Whereas Glenn, he clearly that's probably his primary language.
Yeah, because
Oh,
tall
I
is
get
like
it,
an
but Koa
archaic.
doesn't even understand that basic amount, so he's
Yeah.
just like,
For
Yeah.
you weighed in for the viewers.
Okay. I'll say so this is your trade. You hunt people.
Yes. But no. I get the job done. I don't murder.
What was the job you were hired to do with us?
Murder.
Well, he's not lying.
I'm laughing at Wade's face at that response.
Well, I knew what it was going to be. It's like, what's he going to do? Lie to me? Like,
Right?
There's a
I don't
clip.
murder.
Or it's like, of course.
And your job for us? Murder. Oh, okay. I just wanted him to hear how ridiculous that sounded back to back in his own voice.
I don't think he's the most like introspective person. Just like, yeah.
Well, maybe not normally, but whenever you say those two things out loud back to back, you have to understand the hypocrisy of it.
God,
Even if you don't know what
so.
the word hypocrisy means, you can still feel that.
God, I hope so.
You think Idris
This is
feels
so-
hypocrisy? Because he definitely doesn't know what it means.
I don't think he knows what the word is, but I think there's no way he doesn't understand what he just said back to back.
So this was an exception to normal?
No.
So you weren't going to murder us?
No.
Oh. Then what were you going to do?
Truth?
Yes.
Likely the others would have.
Let them do the job and you get paid for being a part of it.
Not ideal.
He's kind of like, you can see like a growing ire. Like clearly is not happy about it.
Well, I'll pose the question one more time then. Anything else you want to say or share? Because I also think it's not ideal. But I understand it.
The family that ran the banks. They don't anymore.
As of when?
When I removed them from the city.
Whose dime did you do that on? Or I guess whose silver? Fita? I don't know. I don't know what dime would be.
Who's Moonies? Or coin, whatever. He says,
The guards.
What family ran the bank?
I have to get that answer for you. It is written right. He said, what family ran the bank? So his response is,
Rashid.
Do we know that? I don't think we know them.
no, but you would have heard the name Counselor Saro Rashid. They were a parent. Counselor Saro Rashid is a known counselor. Whether or not they're still a counselor, you don't know shit. But the last name Rashid would stand out. Saro is Sarro, and then Rashid.
What'd you do with them?
Remove them.
To where?
Wagon. Outside of town. Bound. Gagged.
Manic?
Bound.
The whole family?
There were only two.
The counselor?
Shakes his head.
Hmm. Good leverage, right?
Doesn't respond. You can also
Do you know where
tell
they went?
he's not happy. What's up?
Yeah, I said, do you know where they went?
West.
To Harrod?
Doesn't respond. No idea. Like you can tell, like he doesn't know.
So you got them on the wagon and then someone else took it. Hmm.
Who took him? You know him?
No.
Sorry, I missed typing it. How long ago did you say that was?
A while ago. He didn't give you a specific amount of time. You can imagine it was months ago, but he didn't give
Probably
you a specific
before
amount.
the bank took our money, I'm guessing, is the implication.
Yeah. I was just trying to see if it lined up with anything else, but it, you know. Huh.
Any other, let's be nasty and call them kidnappings.
Not of people of note.
Well, thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah. Good to know. Well, if you're the type who'd rather judge people by their enemies, you can tell we're not exactly these people's favorite. And the feeling's mutual. I think we can let him go back to his comfortable cell now.
All of this is a response to us stopping a slave ring. There's something to chew on. That is our great crime. Then I'll, escort him back.
Yep, he doesn't say anything. You can again, Aldo has that really high sentiment from earlier. You can tell he's not happy with this. It's one of those. It's not like he ever took joy in whatever kind of work he did beforehand, anyways. But clearly, not enjoying your work and willingness to do it with or without pay, different conversation. But was a growing ire of these last few jobs that you can kind of get off of him. He's always been a person that did, we'll call it hard work for coin. So let's not pretend like this man is innocent by any stretch of the imagination. However, he clearly has not enjoyed the fact that he's done these last few jobs. But as he said to you before, didn't exactly seem like he had that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you always have a choice, but you know what I mean.
I would have one more question for him, either right before we leave or as we're walking out.
Yeah. You literally have 2 corners to hit before you even get to the first cage. So,
The men you're working with right now, how many of them are also not happy that they're doing this? Do any actually enjoy it?
to that, he'll actually be quiet for a second, and then he'll respond.
A few. I suspect.
But he says it low enough that others might not hear his response. But go ahead.
Well, I'd like to know who you suspect before we have a bigger conversation in a moment.
So you kind of stop, pull up there or whatever. And he thinks for a moment and then just shrugs.
And you were being so helpful, too.
Do you not know their names?
He doesn't respond. It is possible. The reason why he's not responding is because you guys are because it's a short walk right outside where the cell is.
Well, that's why I said this would be, I would do this
yeah, as you're walking out or whatever. Yeah, I gotcha.
I would not let him get close to the cells, so it'd be
No, I gotcha.
which of those guys is the bad one?
Right.
No, I got what you're saying, obviously. But the he seems as though, again, not really willing to rat on any one of them particularly. It could be because it's only a hunch, and so false implications could be him pointing the finger wrong. It could be some degree of loyalty for the others who are in the same shit as him. You know, maybe he just felt as though he's helped you enough, and at this point you can kind of go fuck yourself. But he's not willing to answer, at least at this point.
Do you guys have anything else to ask him before we go to the cells?
Aldo looks at him and just says, Woobrin? That's his name, right? Woobra? Whatever.
Woobrun? Is that what it was?
Woobrin. W-O-O-B-R-U-N, yeah.
He was the first to be helpful to us, right?
Yeah. So you ask specifically if he likes that work, and he'll just give like a sharp shake of the head, like his chin to the left and right once, like no.
What about the one who was still scouting when we came upon you?
It doesn't respond, which is probably enough of a response.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. That's it.
Before we get all the way there, I'll hang back with Aldo for a second. You don't have to stay for this part if you don't want to.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to. And he'll just nod at you and then he'll leave.
Cool. Aldo will like walk off to the other room so we can log in and start DMing with Doxy on the side. So the other two can RP.
So I guess we put him back in there. I don't know if you want to take the lead, if you want me to take the lead on this. Koa will kind of like, after we put him back in there and we lock everything up, he'll just like sit down outside the cells, kind of like, I don't know.
I think Mikhail would probably want to give it a little bit of time between that and, you know what I mean? Like a couple hours or something. Let him think about it. Maybe let them chatter amongst themselves for a bit or whatever.
Yeah, I'll follow your lead.
So it's like you kind of go to settle and he would just kind of like motion you to keep going and like walk past the cells.
So you allow like a couple hours to pass sort of a thing first?
Yeah.
There's a
commotion. Gives us a chance to decompress, get them a chance to do whatever, and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
If that's the case, I would make sure that they were given some kind of like food, water, whatever, to like be friendly.
Yeah.
We're trying to good cop them a little bit right now, I guess, so.
There's a bit of commotion that happens in there as fighting takes place. It has to be broken up. And it turns out that the bugbear had grabbed the arm of the one that got shot in the arm by the arrow and shoved his finger into the wound. The guy was like screaming bloody murder, and they had to come in and luckily he was injured enough that 3 people wrestled him off of the other one, because get just a massive hand. It's like releasing a vice grip.
Fucking bratwurst ass finger and his goddamn arrow wound. That's crazy.
Have we talked to that guy? Do we know how that guy kind of seems? Like the read
he
on
didn't
him?
get stuck. He fell out of the tree and fell unconscious. So
yeah, he was out.
God damn it! Now do we have to escort him out and figure out what the fuck happened?
I mean, it's one of those, like, there was clearly some degree of fighting that happened between them or whatever. So he gets taken away, but then he has to be taken out of the room and actively like bandaged and whatnot up. Whereas like the big guy, the only reason they were able to get him off is because the 3 NPCs that went after him, one of them actually gave him like a sharp punch to the ribs, while 2 others were like wrestling him and got him to let go. So some sort of like inmate fighting, and so they have that guy removed after he was getting bandaged up, and then Daelric is in the cell still with the others.
I guess while that guy's separated, will we talk to him and try to figure out what happened?
Yeah, may as well.
I mean, Aldo would have heard about this commotion, and I will just point out, Aldo would be like, we took him out by himself. The other guy's probably accusing him of like ratting him out or giving information. Like you can question everyone individually, but you're probably better off just getting on with your spiel.
Yeah, I had the same kind of hunch.
Oh, fair enough.
Thanks, Aldo.
Aldo disappears again. Only to reappear when the next piece of information.
Did you know?
He is the elder.
Freaking like DBZ after image.
Aldo disappeared so hard that Jake went with him.
I told you, DMing Doxy. I wasn't lying.
His voice will be here when we need it.
Cool. Awesome. So you guys are assume at this point, like you're like, fine, we'll just not speak to that one and speak to the other 7.
Oh, he's like completely separate, like a different room.
Well, so the room with the sarcophagi immediately outside of where the cells are.
Yeah.
So he'd be over in that room being bandaged up. So he'd be able to
Yeah,
hear
so
you.
he's-
You know, you don't even have to project loud. You know, but if you project to
Okay.
some degree, he'd be able to hear you.
So he'd be in front of the other ones. He'd be able to hear us. We can deal with him later then. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. Since we go in there, can I try to get a read
Yep.
of the
I'm not going to have
general
you RP through this whole thing. I was actually going to let you
attitude?
go ahead and roll a sense motive for a hunch of the situation. Because you guys can cue off of each other. Wade, you can actually roll as well to assist him. And you can give like non-verbal like cues to us. So, okay. He took you a 20. So he gave you a +3.
It's okay.
Oh, let's go natty 20. Doxy, if it was entrapment, it's only a good thing for you. It's more like embondagement. So you have a 21 total, so you actually made use of his 20 and got a good roll. So so yeah, you 21 total. The hunch of the place is not far off for one of the details from what Aldo had said earlier. You think that, you know, there is a bit of animosity between at least some of them and Dar. Dar does not give a shit at all, right? Like he's got blood, you know, drying up around his like thumbnail, matting into the fur, like where is like his bare thumb meets up with the fur at the, you know, his hand. Doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him. And it just kind of like, you know, calmly there. And then you see others are like genuinely interested. Others are a bit intimidated or scared. You know, I won't lie. It's a good roll. Wu is like a little excited, you know, like anticipating that this is
He's,
going to
like,
be some
fanning
sort of a like correctly anticipating where things are going here. But that's only because you spent so much time with him prior. And then you have at this point, your characters are going to try to deliver your speech, if you will. This is something that's meant to kind of convince them to join. Clearly, your character is going to roll diplomacy, and clearly you're going to crush it. But Wade, you're welcome to assist in this. Before you just roll diplomacy, how would you like to assist? You could intimidate, bad cop it. You could diplomacy. You could try some other tactic. You know, set the stage for me for how you're assisting Mikhail.
I mean, I think that Koa is going to behave the same way he did with Dar before, unless, like, Mikhail leads in a different direction, but it's going to be you all know what's waiting for you for failing if you go back, which is kind of an intimidating line, but it's more so like, we've fed you, given you water, tried to keep you alive despite being outnumbered ultimately 9-3. We still went for trying to keep you all alive. You know our reputations, you know what we've done. And I'm sure all of you have an idea of the kind of people that are hiring you and how they'll feel about you all. One, coming back alive, and two, not getting the job done. So it's like who do you want to work with? Sure, we can't offer the shiny coin, but we're also not going to be dangling a noose right next to it.
Sounds like a diplomacy.
Yeah, I would agree.
You're welcome to do that. Oh, I can't see the results. Hit it. Hold on. Oh,
Same.
+3. Sexy.
Very good. Hell yeah. Okay. And then that's also diplomacy for me, right?
Yes, it's nice having Koa with a +5.
Yeah.
That feels weird. Chat, does that feel weird? Koa has a +5?
Well, he's been learning from two of the best talkers in the land for a
They've
year.
been rubbing off on you for a while, so
We rub
Yeah, he
off on
worked
each
for that.
other. Wait.
I'm gonna roll now.
holy shitty balls.
Does it matter to hit a 30 for this?
When you talk about just like the diplomacy scale, you only go up one step on a diplomacy scale, but you're actually doing something a bit more than that. You're trying to convince them to rethink their approach or their opinions on this, as opposed to their overall attitude of you, right? A bigger number will always be better for trying to rewrite their kind of inner workings. Up to you.
+4 it is.
Well, do you want to luck it too?
With the +4?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
want to try it like
probably.
a
So you're going to
35?
take a 33 and then roll a luck on top?
Yeah, I think so.
This sounds like
Well,
some
we'll see what
fucking
it does.
Chris Ellen
See what it
bullshit. Like, hey, Scott, I'm just going to go ahead and succeed on all of my diplomacy checks, and they think I'm hot. Okay.
Hey, look, we still have 2 +4s, so I'm definitely doing that. But since I'm doing the +4, may as well roll the luck.
Sure.
Boop.
Look at that. You have a 36. Wow. That's like 12 twos. No.
The martyr shows up and is like,
Doesn't
fine,
work.
I'm back. I'm on your side. Where's my bunk?
18 twos. Okay. Cool.
Not a single 2 in there. I mean, that I
just
changed
wanted
the
to
number,
point out
so there's
that
no
we
2s.
crushed that shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I see that. I see the 21 and the 36.
6.
Yeah. So, at the end of it, I'm going to have you roll me. Oh, I meant to do this slightly differently. Give
We're
me.
not taking it back now.
No, I'm not taking shit back.
Scott's like, oh, a 36. Actually, I meant you to roll a perform check.
I did.
Technically speaking-
Should actually be climb for some reason.
Wait, this is when you can finally use ride. Damn it.
I took points out of it. No, hold on. Because that's a skill. Do you have any special features onto no, that's a class skill and you have a bunch of ranks in it, right? So that doesn't matter.
Yes.
1 second here. There it is. I'm actually doing this slightly differently. So with the first thing, which was the sense motive, I had Wade, instead of rolling independently, I had him assist you, which is fine. I'm going to have you guys assisting each other for this because of what kind of task it is. And the person that inevitably rolled was you, and so you get like a really big bonus on this. Because sense motive is another class skill of yours that you have ranks put into and so on and so forth.
Oh, you're doing like a skill challenge.
Yes, sir. That's exactly where I'm going with this. Keegan being 2 steps ahead of me on this one. So because of your result, I think you actually are rolling a D12. I'm just trying to get the actual answer here. Give me 1 second. So if it is a class skill, 1 second. Character can attempt to each primary skill. Whatever character succeeds, they get progress. If there's either blank or blank, so it's not a D12. Instead, it's going to be it's a D8 plus your ability score modifier. So for the first success is a D8 plus your ability score modifier. But before you roll that one, when a natural 20 is rolled, okay, you're actually going to roll because of Wade's, because I'm having you combine as opposed to doing it independently. We're going to use it with Wade's nat 20 assisting you. When the nat 20 is rolled, you actually get to roll with advantage on it. So you roll 2d8, keep higher 1. So it's like /R 2d8 KH1 plus your ability score modifier for sense motive, which I believe is wisdom, plus you get no extra bonus on this one because you just passed the check. So that's what you're going to roll for your progress.
This is for the sense motive one.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yep. And then the next one's going to be better.
Gotta love wisdom. Okay, I think I typed it right.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, I was confused.
Yeah.
But you have a negative
minus one wisdom. Yeah.
Okay, cool. For your next one, it's going to be
Yeah.
it's going to be a D8 plus your charisma modifier. So this is already getting better. You're already going to instantly have better than this. And then you're also going to add another 1, 2, 3, 4 to this. So it's your charisma mod 4 and a D8. You're going to go ahead and roll. Great. You'll already made progress of a 16, which is huge. Now, I'm going to trigger a third skill on this one. This is going to be another sense motive, DC's 20, for the sake of a hunch to try to kind of get a vibe check of who kind of like bought into this afterwards. So you can go ahead and roll a sense motive, but for this one, I'll let you guys kind of roll either A, independently, or go back to the normal rolls. Go back to A, independently, you can roll, or B, a separate option. If there's something that you want to try to do, if you want to sell me instead of, I just want to see where people are after the speech is done and how much I believe what they say afterwards, so on and so forth. You can be like, maybe Mikhail wants to do this, but Koa wants to do something else, or vice versa, whatever. Since Wade is less familiar with these, I'll let you speak first, Keegan.
I'm good on sense motive. It makes sense because I do want to know. I do want to get a read of everyone afterward. That was really important to me.
Cool. Wade, I'll throw it to you. If you want advice, feel free to tap Keegan for opinions or advice.
Well, help.
So he's basically asking, like, if you want to use a different skill for this next part of the challenge, you can. You just got to come up with like a reason. So,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. If you wanted to keep an eye out for something else or do a different kind of influence or anything at the end of it,
But this is
what
where
I
you
could see maybe working.
find a reason for that ride check.
Yeah. You just want to like bring Nightstorm in.
Plus, the first group of you saw how mighty I looked mounted on my steed, Tyrion.
Yeah. Do a bunch of horse tricks.
Posing on the horse like either Napoleon or Vladimir. It's on the horse. Like, no, we want to get Vladimir vibes. Hey, Edric, get in here. Get your shirt off.
I mean, I don't know. Sense motive makes sense, but I could also see Koa just being overly friendly with other people that come in here, like people that aren't imprisoned, just to show like there's some kind of camaraderie with those of us that are here. Like, we're friendly with one another. It's not like people here feel like they're here against their will. They want to be here. They like us. We treat them well. So it's kind of like showing we're not just talking the talk to you. We walk the walk. Someone just walked in here that wasn't listening to the speech, and they're like, Koa, hey! And I'm very friendly with them back. Just exerting that friendliness and kindness that they wouldn't be getting with Beltran's people.
That feels like a charisma as opposed to a diplomacy.
I hope not.
Right.
Give me a second, Wade.
Sure. Or I go and I pet the bugbear so I can use handle animal. Has bear and bug in its name. Those are two animals.
Unfortunately, that's not really a diplomacy check, is it? Like,
It kind of is.
yeah, it is a skill challenge, and it's not so out of the usual. So, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Kashtar. So
that was the joke, yes.
I'll accept the diplomacy. It feels on
It
the
was
edge
bugbear
there.
soft G.
Just roll your fucking diplomacy.
So yeah, you might count it as like a secondary as far instead of a primary if you're not feeling it.
Do I luck this to get over a 20?
Yeah,
I don't know
think so.
22.
Okay. And what were you saying, Keegan, you're gonna roll yours, yes?
Yeah. Which is DC 20, yeah. Yeah.
We have another +4.
Yeah, I would need that and then it's 50-50 after that.
No, it's 75%
Actually,
chance.
Or 75, yeah, because I need a. Yeah, okay, 4 in luck, I guess.
Okay.
We were pretty late in the session.
All right.
Did it?
You got it, which is good news. It's nice to pass or whatever. So cool. I will say that you both pass. Wade, you go ahead and roll. Yours is actually going to be a D6 plus charisma modifier because it's just trained skill, but it's not a class skill and all that fun stuff.
Plus charisma. Oh boy.
Okay. For the total progress of a 17, and then Kiken, yours is the same as before, where it's a 1d8 plus wisdom. Hey! Cool. And so you have 19 total progress on this. So the end of the day, what ends up happening is you get a pretty good vibe check, at least you believe you do, on the way this worked out. And you actually truly believe that you have convinced. So first of all, everybody agrees to join the cause and so on and so forth. That definitely happens. And they're all like willing to sign up and so on and so forth. This is better. And oh man, we were just being mistreated, blah, 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 blah. That whole situation. However, it's not like you can look to Dar and he narrows his eyes against one person or whatever. He's not helpful at all, right? But at the end of the day, you truly think that of the 8 of them that are there, that 5 of them are a combination of legitimately interested in the cause in and of itself, or it is by far the better alternative to any other options that are there, to the point where like you're willing to trust that's up to you, obviously, Kiken, but Mikhail is leaning towards trusting, like, I think even if they were a problem, Leon can resolve it. Like, I don't think they'll end up being a problem. The other 3, it's one of those, it's a combination of a legitimate gamble down to downright don't trust it at all.
Is there one or two of those 3 that are especially, like, is one kind of on the fence and the other 2 are like very much no, or like where do they fall on the spectrum, I guess?
Yeah, so the guy that came back that you captured alive, he's that legitimate gamble. You're not sure because like they had a hunch, but they still went along with it and whatnot. Sure. So it's like one of those, like, they're not a good person. And so they're just going to do what's best for them in the moment and not just like, okay, I might have interest in what it is that you're doing, or I actually do care about kind of like the greater good of the deer or whatever it is. Like, that person is a gamble and the gamble might pay out. You could, whatever. The worst of them, so that the far spectrum one would be the guy with the arrow hole, the thumb in the arrow hole. Like, he clearly was exactly as, it was funny. I was like, so giddy because Jake literally said everything that was in my head, like in his own words, but he said exactly what I was setting up there, which was he called him out for what it was, calling him a narc, so on and so forth. It's like, get out of here, Kyle, like that kind of a thing, because he just completely believed and is absolutely like a genuine concern. Like, if you released him to, what's his face, Beltran, he's going to deliver all of the information to try to lick boots to make things better. If you kept him here, he's going to try to get information out. Like, you genuinely believe that person's a problem.
And
so,
the third one?
In short, Aldo, good shot.
The third guy? Where does he fall?
In the middle. Like,
okay.
Like, you think that they're a problematic
gamble.
person, but you think they're like a problematic person, but like, it's a gamble. It's just it's gambling expecting. It's like when you enter in like a football pool with your friends and you're putting all your money on the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, it's man. Like the gamble could pay out, but we all know how this is probably going to go.
That's mean.
Is it? Is it? I thought that was accurate.
So is
hurtful.
So is this guy a bigger gamble than the first guy who's a gamble?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like 50-50,
he's like
75-25,
yeah,
90%, like something like that.
Or gamble. It's technically a gamble, but you know the way it's going to play out, and legitimately don't trust this. All alarms are going off.
Yeah. That makes it sound like there's 2 we really should not.
Yeah.
We should not put in here.
That's the vibe I got too.
Even that one is like, putting him in there is probably going against Aldo's wishes, but you never know.
I think having one who's iffy, but not the worst, and like what he's going to be surrounded with is not the biggest gamble, especially because he runs off. The problem solved. They're not going to just let him escape. But the other two could be like a different level of issue. Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess we'll have a meeting with. Would Aldo attend the meeting about this? Would Aldo also not want to be part of that?
No.
Okay, so maybe you and I meet with Leon, tell him our thoughts.
Yeah.
And Edric can be there too. I mean, this involves Edric.
So funny enough, I was going to say, Edric, while not bright, isn't a fucking idiot. No. And so if he understands there's like leadership meetings happening and Aldo is being frumpy grumpy, Edric would actually do the right thing of grab Aldo to like go day drinking for a walk in the woods. So it doesn't look like he's not participating. It looks like he's doing other stuff with Edric.
Oh, okay.
We
would tell Edric what's going on, and he would be like,
that, or he just kind of vibe checks it and like realizes, oh, it's one of those situations, because he does that.
I
with
just
Aldo
also
a lot.
don't want to make Edric feel like he's not welcome to any of these meetings.
Oh,
either.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure. I don't know if you really hurt his feelings, but you can definitely cue him in. You know, it's just if you don't cue him in, he's just doing the thing he would do anyways. When you do cue him, and he's like, I got you. And he acts a little fucking awkward with Aldo at first. And Aldo like gets it.
Well, we wouldn't, I mean, with the stuff with Aldo, we would tell him what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And then Aldo's not a big fan of it, so he's welcome to join us.
Aldo also is putting on a face. Like, he isn't letting it, out there. So no hard sulking. All right, Scott?
Hold on, wait a second. Do you want to roll a bluff check for me?
Do you need me to?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to see if the gods are watching.
If they are, they don't know what the hell they're watching.
9.
Solid. All right. Anyways, so you cue Edric in
6,
and he even is said that he's not interested because like you're theoretically leaving a problem in the camp, but now that he's aware of what's going on, he can kind of like prepare himself for it. But like I said, he'll fuck off with Aldo. That way it's that way it doesn't look wrong. So
sure. All right, then I guess we go find Leon.
Fun fact, he does that again with Aldo a lot. He doesn't really do that with Koa or Mikhail. Like Aldo is like his boy.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the one that's like, go to town, brothel. Like that's just it's like 2 for 1. Yeah. Anyways, so you guys go to Leon.
Yeah. Oh, we should have known he didn't want to be a part of it. We're talking to Leon. Yeah. I should have answered it.
Aldo's like, actually, I would have talked about the prisoners, but I'm not talking to Leon.
But yeah.
Like a double negative. Maybe it was be a positive for him.
We'll go talk to him. Leon, I think we made pretty good progress. Out of the 8, it's 8 total, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Including, what's his name? Daughter?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because the 9th one died. Gotcha. Cool. Out of the 8, 5 of them, I think, can actually be a benefit to this place. They seem, if they're not downright excited to be a part of this, it is far and away the better alternative to what would happen if they went back to Hot Gwen or left it forever to go somewhere else. They won't be an issue.
5 out of 8 is a considerable number. I'm hesitant to believe that 5 of the 8 are have genuine interest in this.
Well,
if they
spent
don't,
some time. Oh, good.
If they don't, then they surely gave a good show, whereas the others. Well, go on, Mikhail.
I'm going to trust your instinct on this, as I said I would. I'll keep an eye on them. The real question is the big one.
He is not proud of what he's had to do. He does jobs and he doesn't hesitate to do his job. He doesn't like slavery. He doesn't like killing. I don't think he likes kidnapping. He confessed, prompted but not really too hard, to helping remove the previous owners of the bank, a couple of their family members, helping kidnap them. And he got the job done, but I don't think he's content with what jobs he's being forced to do. He feels like if he doesn't take those jobs, he won't get any jobs. I think having an alternative is good for him.
Yeah, he's in the 5, for sure.
That
One of the
doesn't
best
exactly
reads off
sound
of him.
like a person easily trusted, nor does it look like someone easily contained and controlled. Not saying we shouldn't and we couldn't be, just problematic. Potentially problematic. Says correctly himself.
Potentially. But honestly, he's one of the ones we got the most thorough read of, despite his usual stoicism. He pretty clearly isn't on board with what he signed up to do, and was even not planning to deliver any killing blows for what little that's worth.
He basically
But
admitted
honestly-
to agreeing to the job and allowing the others to do the dirty work, and just being there because he had no choice but to be there.
Yeah. He's honestly the least of our worries. Those other 3. 2 of them, if it were absolutely necessary, might be worth taking the risk on, seeing if they turn around.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. And one, the one who got a thumb in his wound, I wish we hadn't spared that one.
Well, I'm not sure I feel that strongly about it, but there are 2 that are definitely not likely to join. The one I couldn't fully get a read on, I think. Perhaps with time he could see that this is a good place to be and he would adapt, but I think all 3 of them are out for themselves, 2 of them being very much that way. One of them I think could be convinced, but is even more of a gamble than the first 5. The first 5 I feel pretty good about, but... Well, do you like gambling?
Not particularly. This one with the arrow wound originally. You didn't even. You wish you hadn't spared him. I'm sure there's a degree of dramatics to that, but he seems to be that loyal.
Or that
No.
evil?
Not loyalty. I think it's self-interest.
Okay.
The coin's too good.
Yeah, what is our read on him, Scott? I guess is he cruel? Is he evil? Is he like what's the? He's for sure the baddie, but bad in what sense?
I mean, unfortunately, you weren't able to get a strong enough read on him, particularly to get like so much. But you wouldn't be surprised if, as you said, self-interest and probably would take a bit of, you're talking about how bad a baddie of a person he is, probably would take a degree of like self-pride and like would likes the idea of maybe knocking you guys down a peg.
Oh,
Like,
God,
all these
he's a
people
pick
coming
me?
in and they're big heroes coming into town. Psh, fuck them. You know?
Ugh,
Gotcha.
a pick me. Worse. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, okay. So Mikhail's disgust is where it is.
Mhm.
It says, I think he would take some kind of sick joy in being one of the ones to hurt us or see us toppled. I think he'd go groveling back to Beltran, despite the fact that it sounds like that's basically a death sentence.
The big guy's name, Da.
Oh, hold on a moment. Staying with this problematic one. That could be useful. We can choose the information that he has, so he brings it back with him.
Yes.
These are things that, generally speaking, I have one of my subordinates, some aide-de-camp, if you will, would usually handle this kind of curation. I understand the tactic and have some thoughts on it, but it's not my forte. They've done things in the past where, just give me a moment, Koa. I recall this one time in the past where what we did was we needed to sell it as though we were an easy target to lure an enemy beyond their bounds of security. It was already an uphill fight for us, but it exposed them in a way that we had a chance, and inevitably we won. The way it was done was the amount of resources we had available to us. We moved them to locations where they had no insights to, they had no understanding of. We legitimately rationed the amount of resource we had, which, negatively impacted the morale of the soldiers and what have you. But we also had a few that we can trust their performance, playing it up a little bit in front of the individuals in question. And then inevitably the resources were so tight we couldn't afford to keep the prisoners at hand. And so we turned them loose. And they brought that information back to where we needed them to. Of course, in the interim, we increased the amount of resources that people were using. We actually, at that point, were nearly stockpiled because we had rationed so hard. And when they attacked, we were ready. They were misinformed, and victory was ours. Again, concepts that I can understand and I can explain, but I lack the ability to enact and see through. This kind of conniving is better for somebody else to oversee. Perhaps we have somebody here that can take on that kind of responsibility, and perhaps we can feed them misinformation to send off. Or perhaps that's not the best approach here. What an idea. Koa, we're going to move on to speaking of the this Dar.
Yes, but before I get there, what kind of misinformation would be useful in this case? Do we want them to think we're bigger and scarier than we are, or do we want them to continue to underestimate us?
I would need time to think about it, to properly make a plan, but let's make a simple one. Perhaps we've disbanded, morale's too low, infighting, or maybe even half the people have abandoned this location. And so that information gets back to Beltran. Beltran grabs up his group, and they attack this location to destroy whatever's left over, to take it back for himself, whatever the reasoning may be. In the interim, we've sent time up to, we've put effort into applying traps, choke points, etc., etc. They fight hard on the way in, and then once they're in here, they're in there. The rest of our team is prepared to escape a different route or what have you. We lock them in, smoke them in, whatever the case may be, until they give up or die. That is top of mind, but certainly lacks.
Well, the only problem, the only issue with that is we've spent the last day convincing them the opposite is true, so we'd have to look like liars, I suppose, to convince them of that, because we've been telling them how great this place is and such and so on.
Time.
Yes, agreed.
It's not something we would want to do today because we wouldn't want Beltran aware of where this is. But if this is something that we release 3-4 months from now, or some other misinformation, again, I'm being very quick because you're asking me to be, but strategy requires time.
I understand. Are you all prepared to hold the 3 here that we don't trust fully a little bit longer then?
Yes, for a time. But I believe they actually will impact our resources.
Right. We'll need to get you some gold. Wouldn't be too much of an issue as long as you had the funds to maybe get supplies from Herod, or maybe a few people know how to get things from Hodgwin without too much trouble.
It's if you have supplies, we can get them transported.
We can try to get some. There is another matter which we haven't discussed with you yet, or Edric for that matter. When we were in Westwood, we looked over a bit of property that we got as a thank you, I guess, for the taking care of things here. There's a tunnel partially built that was going to connect a place just outside of the Westwood area to a place not too far from here.
Is Westwood not miles from here?
It was going to be a very large tunnel.
Yes.
Dug by hand or by magic?
They had hands, cheap hands.
Yes.
I imagine.
Well, that's concerning for a few reasons. One, what was done at the time, but more importantly, the quality of the tunnel and the fact that it's not been maintained for a while. I assume you're bringing this up because you're interested in the tunnel. I think that you need to quash that interest unless you get an engineer.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying that there was a start to it. Obviously, Beltran knows about it, because I'm sure he was... If there was any funding to go, he was the bankroll. If it was all free labor, then I'm sure it was still not a secret from him. But I'll pull out the map and show kind of like where the two entrances are. I'm not saying it's something that we go and obviously start doing right now. There are too many other needs. But eventually it could be useful, and the startings of it exist. And I just thought I would mention it in case you wanted to look at it or think on it. I don't have an answer for it, nor the way to fund it to be dug properly, and I would not ask people to do it without proper funding.
Unless you have an engineer that has some sort of specialty in tunnel reinforcement, it's not even a path that's worth paying any minds to. Keep an ear to the ground. If you find such a contact, then that's somebody you can make use of, and then we can discuss the opportunities here. Otherwise, if we just try to dig it or even use it as a hiding place, it could collapse at any point. Into a heavy rainstorm could loosen the soil enough that it could collapse. I'd rather not risk anybody's lives over something so silly.
I don't disagree for the time being, but maybe worth taking a look at or thinking on. That's all.
Certainly.
Back to Dar. He had a hunch that it was Beltran funding things. And he knows that their wealth and influence and such, their extent. I think that's another thing to put toward his credit is he was kind of an unwilling participant, but he knew the scope and the power of the person that he was hesitant to go against. And go on.
He also is from an older family. His name is it's a tall name. It's Daelric. I don't really know the family much, but I know with a name like that, they must have been around for a while. He may have some influence in other places as well.
I wouldn't be able to assist you with that.
We're just sharing what we know in case it ever comes up, I suppose.
Understood. Appreciate it.
But it sounds like we need to make sure you have the supplies to deal with those three that aren't going to be helping out in that time.
3's not as extreme of a number. It's more of the growing number of people in general that are here. If we could have, if every person that's added can supply food for 2 more, we'd be fine. But it tends to bend the other way.
Yeah.
And hopefully that changes if we can talk to Dwayne and get him to help teach some of these people to hunt, as well as the capabilities of the archers with their equipment that are willing to flip. Maybe that can turn around sooner rather than later.
Yeah. We need to see if he's willing to stick this out. Either by being hired to do the training or even just to join the cause. But can you give us a number, maybe what it would take to kind of feed everyone and everything in the next 3-4 months?
I have that prepared.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
It's in your go package. When you're ready to leave, I've put together a list of supplies that are desired and supplies that are needed. As you know, I've already acquired many of the things that we needed before and brought them here. I have since done a inventorying, or had an inventorying taken care of, and then applied my best judgment from there. And I have a timetable for how long I think will be okay without it and with it and so on. But to your earlier point, Koa, and this Dwayne fellow, who sounded like he didn't anticipate staying here for long. I think his intention was to travel with you out of this, cave. But even if he were to stay, and even if there were more hunting, the woods can only provide so much. Eventually the deer are going to avoid coming here. Eventually the bunnies are going to stop showing up. And we can't exactly knock down trees and till soil. If we do that, then we become easier to find.
And I guess farming outside's out of the question because it'd be easy to find.
Yeah. Yeah, supplies would help give the woods a break for a while. Let things fill back in. Yeah, okay. We'll take a look at those numbers and see what we've got. You'll need us to secure the supplies first, or just provide the funds?
Do what you can. If funds are provided, then we can see to it. I can have somebody look into it. If you're also able to acquire the supplies, I'll have them transported. If you want to take care of the funding, the supplying, and the transportation, then I'll focus on my specialty.
We will definitely do what we can.
Yeah.
We've already asked a lot of Herod. Herod doesn't have a whole lot, it's a few farmers. But obviously getting anything out of Hot Gwen, will be tricky and tracked, likely.
Yeah.
You see, he thinks for a second, and kind of like one of his tells, when he's like literally chewing on an idea that he's not happy with. It's not his favorite option, but one that's probably the better one to go through. And it's because he's more relaxed in front of the two of you that he's willing to show a tell rather than constantly have his guard up. Is he's like kind of like, you can see he's like flexing his jaw. And so eventually he says, it might be easier if you have the right person do it for you. Sorry, I thought I was... He says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be vague. Arthur Fraham. The contact you have through Nathan Fox from Leshev.
Right.
Yes.
His
I'm
tactics
surprised to hear you suggest it.
are well suited for Hard Gwen.
Might be good the next time we have the chance to chat with him.
You don't
What
need
will we have to offer him? If he has someone like Nathan funding him, we can't offer that kind of coin.
He's interested.
In helping us here?
He's interested in what it is that you're doing for multiple reasons. One, he is not exactly interested in slavery being around. You did a good thing. You're a hero of Leshev. Two, your growing reputation there. But more importantly, you have the ear of Fox. And Fox has his purse. Perhaps you can make your own relationship with the man. That's between you and him. But as long as you're in Fox's good graces, he's opening many of his resources to you. I don't know how much you want to tap that, but you can certainly do so for the interim while his focus is on you.
How much information would you trust him with? You spent more time with him than obviously we have.
Have him acquire supplies for you. That's what I'm suggesting. You can provide the financing for it, and he can take care of the trading for what you need. I'm not saying he has to transport the goods here. I don't know how well he holds his tongue when he's had his libations, but him being a known associate of yours is not exactly an issue. Somebody would be foolish to touch him if they know who he is. And reputations mean something. You make a movement against him, it's a movement against Fox and that family, which is a movement against Leshev.
I do see wisdom
Yeah,
in
worth
this.
doing. Yeah, worth doing. Could have him handle the trade part of it, especially if we. Seems like we need to set up maybe a partnership of some kind for the transport. I can't think of anyone other than Jaaek or Luca, people from Herod that we trust to do that, who've been here.
I think we need to get some jobs. We got a lot of things to fund.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And you just pick up a king's coffers in the past couple days.
They come and go faster than you'd think, especially whenever we need to get some things to mend ourselves at these damn keeps.
You want simple finances, live a simple life.
Yeah.
No, I just don't want to tilt the scales in a way that any of the important things we're trying to do fail. They're all too important. We'll find a way to get it done. We have thus far.
Yeah, we can at least get a shipment of some kind secured before we move on to wherever we're going. I think Rid next. I mean, after Hodgwen.
Maybe your fiance would be willing to front you some of the financing.
I can ask, but I'm afraid tipping her hand at all. If Beltran and the Hodgwen aren't on her at all yet, if they've truly taken over the banks entirely, they see her make a large withdrawal, and it's... I don't know. I just don't want any suspicion cast her way.
And
She
if
won't give
Beltran
up.
isn't resolved, how much longer is she going to have financing inside of the banks anyways?
He just sent 9, granted not the best quality men we've ever dealt with in our lives, but 9 men after us. What do you think he'll do if he finds out who Guinevere is to us, to me? It'll be more than just removing her coin.
Do you want my honest opinion of it?
I barely slept. Yes.
It'll be quite the public show. He will not move slowly, as he understands that you're not the kind of person that is going to sit back as piece by piece is done. You're more brutish. You will attack directly if you feel as though she's being attacked directly. So it'll be swift. Maybe her shop is burned down. Maybe she's thrown into some sort of cell. Maybe false accusations against her. Whatever the case may be, it'll be something abrupt and fast. It won't be slow and insidious. It's my assumption. I could be wrong. But if he tried to do something slower, that gives you time to retaliate it before it escalates.
That's just assuming he finds that out. There is another type of problem she could run into that we know thanks to Dar. What if he asks something of her and she refuses? Now he doesn't want her to work.
Thankfully, I'm hoping her profession isn't one that will run in with him too often. She mostly supports the hospital and then small things here and there. I don't think I can convince her to stop because the hospital depends on her. How long before you think we should try to make a move against Beltran, realistically? With him escalating things and with where we're at?
He has 100+ soldiers trained. I use these terms loosely, but still the fact. And his numbers are going to start to grow. That's what the rumors are. His numbers are going to start to grow. In the meanwhile, we are only starting our training. You can see what we have here.
Can we ever
Acting
truly
too-
hope to catch up?
No, I hope to outmaneuver, but I can't do so if I don't have pieces on the board.
So realistically then, how long do you think you need to have pieces on the board?
Few months. I have to get the basics in them. I have to get them understanding how to hold down when things go poorly, how to hold a damn sword. I need to teach them the basics.
Yeah. A few months is about how long it takes that you think we should wait to use those guys for misinformation as well.
I think the earliest we would want to make a truly aggressive action against him is about 3 months' time. That is the earliest we'll want to. And that gets us into the autumn. In this situation, what we'd want to do is getting us into the autumn. Let's say we began at the beginning of the autumn. Skirmishes, little tidbits, or mid-autumn. Skirmishes, little tidbits, to the point where we lower their numbers enough, frustrate them enough that they attack at us full front. Going into the winter, being on the defensive is in our advantage. We have a warm cave where we've been stacking resources, preparing for it. They're out in the cold. Sure, they can have a supply chain to continue bringing in resources. They're not the ones being sieged, but they're the ones out in the cold. That's how I see it playing out. I would prefer us to be more prepared and to make things a bit more swift than that, but if they drag out, that's how it's going to be.
We're going to spend a little bit of time in Hardgwyn, I think, at least. Perhaps we can, I don't know, spread some rumors or something to distract him. But also, when the time comes, perhaps we can do something to convince him there's a threat or an attack somewhere, so he has to divide his forces to weaken them somehow.
Oh, there will be.
Pretend ally from the north? Convince him the free folk are coming? No?
You. When he hears the three of you and potentially a handful of others with you are in one particular location, guaranteed, locked in, factual, he's going to take an absurd number of people with him to resolve that situation, dividing his forces.
What's to stop him from doing that when we're in Hardgwyn?
Because you'll be in Hardgwyn. I keep talking about reputation in reference to it being in armor for myself or for this Arthur. But you still have armor there. You still have enough reputation that's acting against you would make things more difficult for him and his family in the long run, or at least in the mid run.
That's true. We do have the ear of the people for the most part.
So we strengthen our hold in Hardgwyn and we do some things to boost our reputation there. Get people to stay on our side or more on our side. Make it where he really can't act against us there.
Or at least don't allow it to slip. Even if it's not strengthened, just hold it. At the very least, just hold it. That buys time. And then you actually almost become safer in the belly of the beast. But when the time comes to attack, you're mentioning the divided forces, the threat will be you. He will take an inordinate amount of effort against you, especially with the plans that were going to come up in the near future to piss him off immediately prior to the inevitable assault. He'll take the forces against you. Your responsibility will be, don't become martyrs. And in that time, I will be able to assault his divided force. If either of us are victorious, both of us will be.
We have to decide, Mikhail, if we take time away from our other escapades and focus on this. A few months' time might be better spent helping train here or working our magic, so to speak, in Hardgwyn rather than leaving and...
It's not like we don't have plenty to do.
I know.
Look, Aldo did mention that too. And I didn't disagree with him then. We might need to make this our priority.
I don't know that I can stomach the thought of leaving Scott's hand. I don't know if I can stomach the thought of leaving Guinevere in that position without being nearby again. Not until he's gone.
Yeah, I think if we keep you away from her, you got maybe a couple more days before you explode. So we really have to deal with this. I understand.
Let's find a way to convince Dwayne to help us. We go to Hot Gwyn and we get to work.
At the very least, we need to get the temperature there. We haven't been there in a bit. Some things have changed since we've been gone, obviously. We need to know more of what's going on in the city. But I'm very ready to, if that's the decision, to buckle down there for a while and handle our business. I still haven't even forgiven him for the bank, let alone the slave ring or all this other bullshit he's pulling.
A lot of people in Hot Gwyn are suffering from the changing in the guard, moving them to only the nicer areas. I'm sure a lot of people are suffering higher crime and all kinds of things. Perhaps we step in and aid and show them we truly are on their side, the truth of the matter. Do what we can. But that means putting off keeps.
For now, yes. Unless something changes, it would mean that.
Leon, I don't know how much you're in.
Months. It's just for some months.
I don't know how much contact you have with various people who trade. We're going to try to take a look around Hot Gwyn, but we're still looking for more of those Mull Encyclopedia books, and if we have some downtime, they could be very valuable for multiple reasons, if you know anyone that can come across any.
Yeah, especially if there's a volume 28. Really looking for that one.
Leon, quit talking about Trump and come back to us.
Wake up!
I'm sorry, I was thinking of my last hand I played at poker.
It was very unlike you. The encyclopedia, especially volume 28, if you know anyone that can come across it, I suppose we'll be between here and Hot Gwyn for the next few months trying to help prepare.
I'm familiar with the encyclopedia. If I hear word from the cave, I will send it your way.
Unlikely, but yes, still welcome. Thank you.
We'll take a look at the list of supplies and we'll see what we can do. We'll go meet with Dwayne and then we'll likely be out.
Just don't overstretch yourself in Hot Glen. Don't expose yourself too far. Don't act too aggressively. Remember, while you have many tasks that you need to resolve, your own items that you're taking care of, I still need time here. So while you feel as though you're racing against the clock, you're actually not yet. There is a race. There are many things that need to be done between now and when we act. That is true. But don't feel as though time is quite against you just yet, because I still have to train them. We will fail if I don't have my time. So be mindful of that. And when it comes to communicating, if we can send word with porters, there are ways to seal messages. You don't have to personally travel all the way back to Leshev to send word to Arthur. A proper letter can be drafted. And the same is true for any other contacts you might want to reach out to.
Koa looks right at Mikhail when it talks to drafting letters.
He's just, yeah, that's true. I'm still waiting on one. Yes, I can handle the letter to Arthur.
Wonderful. Let's get that started then, if he's going to handle the trading for you. The sooner you get supplies, the better for all of us.
Okay. We can do that. Talk to Dwayne. Draft letter.
Does Jaaek know the timetable
That's it.
you're working on?
Yes and no. I don't inform him of everything, as it's beyond what he needs to be aware of for now.
All right. Well, as always, thank you for everything, Leon. We'll do what we can for you all.
Not a problem. And again, as you're traveling or once you get there, look at the list of things. It's not small, but it's all crucial.
Okay, we can do that.
Cool. You guys go your own way. I don't know if you RP with your between the two of you, or you just go to find Dwayne, or if you get Aldo and Dwayne.
We definitely want to talk to Aldo first.
Yeah.
Aldo's been day drinking with what's his name?
Yeah, how much watered down wine is left?
But the problem is they had to water down the watered down wine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if there wasn't any wine last night, there definitely isn't any today.
It's
Eventually, they'll just be drinking water. Holy shit.
borderline. It's borderline communal wine now. You know what I mean? Like
0.01%.
Oh. Anyways, that's you, Jake. They're coming up to you.
How'd you go?
Oh, we'll spare you some of the unpleasantness you don't want to hear, but to cut to the chase, we need to talk to Dwayne still about helping join the cause. And then I think what you'd suggested before, Mikhail and I agree on. It's time to focus on Beltran. We need to get to work in Hotgwyn.
Yeah. Slightly touching on the other subject, there's 3 of them that in a few months' time, 2 or 3, we should use to get some misinformation from here to Hotgwyn. Haven't quite formed the exact idea of what type of information we want them to think they have, but I mean, that seems like more of your specialty.
Right, well, what's the plan now? We talk to Dwayne and then head to Hotgwyn.
Yes.
Interesting to see how much it's changed since we were last there.
Yeah.
Koa looks like actually scared when you say that. Like there's a moment of just like panic.
She'll be fine.
Of course. Yes. Sorry, just thinking. It will be interesting. Hopefully we can actually get our armor, and Beltran hasn't kidnapped and sent them away as well.
Now Mikhail looks horrified.
Koa thinks you're a bitch for being more worried about the armor than Guinevere.
He thinks she can take care of herself, but other people. Ugh.
We've got to be careful. If we need a few months before they're ready, at least. Whatever reputation building we do or rumors we spread, we don't want them to be something that Beltran acts on too quickly, or at least not in the right spot. We want to buy time, build our reputation with the people of Hotgwyn, get them on our side, or keep them on our side at least. We need to be the valiant
I think
few.
staying in Hotgwyn during that time, really getting to work. I can think of lots. We could probably work in tandem a bit, Mikhail. Play off each other there. But yeah, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I may need
We
to
have a
find
lot
a
to
way
do.
to make some coin. I don't know whether I continue making crafts or whether I hire myself as a mercenary. But we've got to have some money to supply the crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, it shouldn't cost too terribly much. Especially if Arthur's actually pretty decent at sourcing things.
How much do we
Yeah.
tell Arthur? The bare minimum, just that we need supplies. Do we? If he's sympathetic at all to our cause, perhaps it would help. But I don't know this man at
It's-
all. For Leo to
yeah.
suggest him, he must think that he'll at least help.
He trusts in his skills, and he said he thinks he'd be interested in what we're doing, but let's see how he works first.
Right, to Dwayne.
Bare
then.
minimum. Yeah.
So
to
I'm
Dwayne.
eager to get moving.
Alright. We're gonna go talk to Dwayne, and yeah.
The 3 of you approach him.
Yeah.
Sees the three of you approaching, kind of like puts down what he's working on, stands up and says, "Does this mean now or in the morning?"
We're
Conversation
talking
now.
Yeah.
Talk. Oh, are we leaving?
Well, that's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
He'll kind of like motion to him to go to like a private space to talk.
Sure, he'll come with you. He starts walking with you, then he stops and he goes back to grab something and he comes with you still.
Go ahead.
Dwayne, what have you gathered about this place since you've been here?
Whew. It's a lot of people. Like, don't get me wrong, I've heard the songs and I've been with you. And you know your way around this, that, or the other thing, but wow. You have like an army here. This is awesome.
Do you know why
Yes.
this place exists?
Yeah. I heard the songs. I know the stories.
No, I mean, do you know why we have people here?
Yeah. I heard those people talking. Gonna whoop Beltran's ass.
Do you agree with that?
I mean, he is kind of a cock, isn't he?
It's a little deeper than that.
Okay, he's a deep cock, but that doesn't change the fact that he's a piece of shit and the whole slave thing and, you know, corruption in Hodgwen and other stuff. Yeah, I'm familiar.
He hired 9 men to kill us on the way back.
I was there with you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
What I'm trying to get at, slowly but surely here, the point, I guess. It's hard to keep this many people hidden and supplied. And whenever we were traveling with you, not only could you hold yourself in combat, but your ability to maintain fire, your ability to gather materials, food, it was something to behold. Something that we were hoping maybe you'd be willing to help teach the people here.
Yep, that's where I thought you were going with this. You want me to do everything that I've been doing for you guys and whatnot, but this time for free, before a cause. God damn it.
If we can offer some amount of coin if that's what it takes, but every coin we give you is less we can supply these
I
people
know how
with.
it works, Koa. I mean, yeah, I'm interested. Well, hold on, let me be clear. I am interested in helping out here and teaching people and whatnot. Leon seems like that man has a shit together. Yeah, I almost feel like I'm disappointing Dad when he's around. And I don't know how much older than me he is. His complexion's great. But I'm not going to go fighting against Hodgwen, if you know. There's a chance that the people that I know, it's one thing to defend yourself, it's another thing to attack. It's just I'm not interested in the fight, but I am interested in what you're talking about. And besides, it might be nice to lay down anchor for a little while, you know, to plant some roots out here for a little bit, not have to go into the hustle and bustle of the towns, and it could be nice. Not to mention, do you see that? Oh, never mind.
Not sure if he's hitting on Leon or someone else.
Right.
That man's complexion.
There's a few
that
names.
I think it's a relief to hear that, Dwayne, because we don't really have someone with your skill set here. And if you want to sit out of the fight, that's your choice. Everyone's here voluntarily.
He's like, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. But speaking of skill sets and not liking the hunting of people, he lifts up the thing that he grabbed quickly on his way in, and he puts down with a bit of a thud 2 crossbow bolts on the table, head down. But the heads are not arrowheads. They're not sharp. They don't stab into the table, but they clank against it. They're blunted. Says, they don't fly as well as a typical arrow, but I've done the similar thing for my own, bow before. Arrows as opposed to bolts, but the design should be similar. It's just the head, right? Aim a little bit higher. You get used to it. Something like this, you don't have to kill the person. You could just hurt them. Save my ass, Aldo. But I'm sorry that you had to.
Aldo looks like genuinely like he looks happy, but there's definitely that thing pulling at him, and he just says, "Thank you, Dwayne. We all did what we had to, and I appreciate this though. This is gonna help a lot."
Yeah. If they work for you, let me know and I can make more. But I only had time to make these two, so either you like them, you don't like them, or I just gave you something that's going to misfire in a critical moment and you're screwed, in which case, well, you won't be around to yell at me.
Well, I appreciate it, Dwayne.
So, we're still going to go visit the goblins?
Not for a while.
Eventually.
Oh. Okay. I thought the approach was to talk about convincing me to do this and to go visit the goblins.
No, just this. This is our priority now.
I've literally been working up the nerve for days after the conversations for us to go to Hodgwen for a day or two so you can visit the missus, and then we can head north to the goblins.
We would have
Dwayne,
never asked
we
you to
were-
go there again.
I've been eating
Exactly.
myself up for days. Oh, mother.
We told you. Yeah, he just like he's like, we told you we weren't gonna ask you, kind of thing.
Kind of like fade to black on that one. So, as it's 2:18 a.m. So,
Wow. It's
Cool.
late.
alrighty. Yeah, the 18th, 8 p.m. EST. Same bat time.
Boy,
same bat
that
channel.
is close.
Huh?
That is close.
Yeah, it's very soon. And Keegan's the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean? We're playing next. Did I lose a week?
We are playing next week. You're not welcome in the other one. So
Oh,
it's
fuck you.
Jake, me, and Tesh.
I want a makeup session from this game next week.
You're getting a makeup session on the 28th.
I want it now.
It's only 10 days after the one you're missing.
I want it now. You guys do it tomorrow morning.
If you want it now, ask
It's-
Molly. Molly will play D&D with you.
12
Dixon
hours
will
from now.
those.
You guys busy?
What?
12 hours from now.
12
You
hours
busy?
from now.
What is?
I
What is?
think I'm taking a drug test.
You said 12 hours from now. I'm working. It's
You're
like a
sick.
Thursday afternoon.
I hear that cough, Scott. You might need to call in.
I am taking vacations this year. Even when I'm sick, even though I work from home, when I'm sick, I am working because I'm just like I am taking actual 4 weeks of vacation plus any time off here and there for like parenting. So like it's one of those like I am making sure I am not the shitty person that like we have unlimited time off, unlimited PTO, but I'm not going to take advantage.
I
of
quit
that.
listening when you said no.
There. All right. Keegan's going to be DMing here. So you can see his face. Keegan, where else can people see your face?
Usually on Tuesdays
See you
on
next Tuesday.
twitch.tv/unnatural_1s from 7 to 11 Central Time because I live in Central Time. And yeah, I don't know. My party is doing something, probably something to piss me off deliberately because they like to do that, even though I'm nice to them.
Are you nice to them?
Are you going to be nice to
Yeah. I'll be nice to most of you.
It doesn't include me because I'm not here, so.
Thank you. That actually
Most
works.
of you? I don't know what most of you means with you two.
I mean, we know I'll be nice to Jake. And I mean,
Three-quarters
Tesh is
nice to
great.
Jake.
Tesh is great.
All right. Wait. Anything you have going on?
Yeah, nothing much. Just I'll see you all here Sunday the 8th for our bonus session this week, right?
This is misinformation.
It was all talking today. I want to go to Hodgwin and talk.
Jake, anything you need to say or do, or anything?
Nope. No, nothing exciting.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
I'm tired.
Yeah. Should raid someone.
I'm working on it. I should have pressed the outro button a while ago.
Perfect.
For the credits.
My face.
Cool. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, are we gonna do a
Check
raid
out those
message by the way
credits.
before we actually say goodbye? We doing a raid message for Arcane?
For
What's
up,
Raid-
bitch? I don't know.
We raid Arcade Congress.
Jeez. Holy shit, that's aggressive.
I don't know, man.
Dude, we should rate.
No message.
The message should just be Arcane Congress. Arcane Congress. That's it. It makes so much sense. They'll totally get the reference. It won't confuse them at all.
Thank God we're gone.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, we're totally gone.
I really hope nobody says